Hello and welcome to the third video in our three-part series celebrating World Cord Blood Day. We've been counting down to the day itself, which is next Tuesday on the 17th of November. We'll share a link with you so that you're able to tune in and watch the conference. And in the meantime, thank you so much for watching the videos that we've done so far. I hope they've been enjoyable and helpful, and I hope this one will be as well. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about the impacts of COVID-19 and particularly lockdowns and hospital restrictions on the way that our service operates. I'm also going to talk to you about what sets Cells for Life apart, what unique things that we do to make sure that your baby has the best service possible. When having a cord blood stem cell treatment, there are two really important things that you need to think about. These are, is it a match, and how many stem cells does it contain? With your child's own cord blood, it's always going to be a perfect match. It's their biological material. So the number one thing that you need to think about when banking your baby's cord blood is how many stem cells will it contain. Number of cells is really important. Not only does it determine the size and weight of patient that a cord blood sample is able to treat, it also determines how many treatments they could have, whether or not they're going to use up all of their cord blood in one therapy or whether they could have multiple therapies. At Cells for Life, we've developed a completely unique processing method, and it's called TotiCyte. TotiCyte delivers 3 times more stem cells at the point of therapy than the industry standard cord blood processing method. This is absolutely crucial. It could be the difference between one therapy and multiple therapies, and it could also be the difference between treating a young child versus being able to treat a full-grown adult. TotiCyte is also really useful if you're thinking about delaying the clamping of your baby's umbilical cord, which has been shown to have a number of benefits. The reason for this is, as you would expect, if you delay clamping, you do end up with a smaller amount of blood remaining in the umbilical cord for stem cell banking. However, with TotiCyte, one of these smaller samples, say 20 ml versus 60 ml, will still contain just as many stem cells as a much larger sample processed another way, and this can be crucial. Everything that Cells for Life does is designed to give your child the best treatment opportunities in the future. I've already told you a bit about TotiCyte, which makes sure that you get the maximum number of stem cells possible, but we also do a number of other things to make that stem cell sample really useful. The first of these is to split the sample into multiple therapeutic units. What this means is if that sample does contain enough cells to be used multiple times, you're able to thaw just the amount that you need for therapy, leaving the remainder in storage for future treatments. The benefit of this is if you were to apply the freeze-thaw process multiple times, you risk damaging the cells and reducing the number that is left for treatment. Whereas if you can release just the correct amount, the remainder is still there for the future. When we store multiple samples, we're also able to split them across 2 different storage facilities. Now, it's really, really unlikely that there would ever be a problem at one of our sites, but by splitting the sample into 2 locations, you can rest assured that if there was, you've still got some of your child's stem cell sample safely stored elsewhere. All of our services are completely 24/7. This means our customer care team, our phlebotomy service, that's the person who comes and collects the sample, the couriers who pick the sample up, and most importantly of all, our laboratory. We will make sure that your sample is processed and frozen within 24 hours of your child being born. This is absolutely crucial because the longer you leave a sample before it is frozen, the more the viability of that sample will decline. So effectively, the more stem cells that you're losing. By getting it frozen and in storage as quickly as possible, we're able to make sure, once again, that that sample contains as many stem cells as possible at the point of therapy. Cells for Life is more than just a cord blood bank. We also give you the option to store 3 different tissues from the umbilical cord and placenta themselves. The first of these is umbilical cord tissue, and this is a section of the umbilical cord itself. This is really rich in mesenchymal stem cells, which are being investigated in numerous clinical trials all around the world today. We also give you the option to store 2 different tissues from the placenta. And the reason why you'd want to look to store multiple tissues as opposed to just cord blood or just cord blood and cord tissue is because the more different types of cell that your child has available, the wider the variety of stem cell therapies that should be available to them in the future as these become approved and standard of care. In the vast majority of cases, COVID-19, and in particular lockdowns, shouldn't have much of an impact on the way that we provide our service to you. It will just be as Sammy described in part 2 of our series. So the phlebotomist will come to your hospital, collect the stem cells, put them into the collection kit, and then you'll be able to phone the courier who'll come and pick them up and bring them back to our laboratory. However, there are a very small number of hospitals that have decided that our phlebotomist shouldn't be permitted, in particular during lockdown periods, because they're worried about the number of contacts that a person will have and the number of people entering the hospital. In these cases, Cells for Life is able to provide a really quite unique solution, and we're the only company that is able to continue to collect stem cells in such cases. The way that we do this is by providing our placenta banking service. This is something that is completely unique to Cells for Life. This is where we take the entire placenta, and from this we're able to harvest chorionic villi cells and also the amnion. And these are rich sources of regenerative cells. The reason why we can offer this, as opposed to, say, cord blood collection, is that the collection of the placenta itself is really, really simple. All that you need to do is take the placenta and place it in a biobag and seal it with a label so that we know whose placenta that is. That can then come straight back to our laboratory for processing. Because of this simplicity, lots of the hospitals and the staff at these hospitals have said that they are willing to carry out this collection themselves, so we don't actually require a phlebotomist. They simply place the placenta in the bag and then give it back to you as per normal. This means that you're still able to access really powerful regenerative cells from your child's tissue, and this is completely unique to Cells for Life. So that's a wrap on our 3-part mini-series celebrating World Cord Blood Day. We hope you've enjoyed these videos and found them useful, and please do share them as widely as possible to help raise awareness about the amazing things that cord blood stem cells can do. And don't forget to tune in to the day itself. World Cord Blood Day is on Tuesday the 17th of November, and we'll share a link below so that you can access the virtual conference. Thank you so much again for joining us, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.